Welcome to the B2T show, where we empower Christian patriots with truth. This is Rick, your host. Sally, I think it was, from North Dallas, right here in my area, have actually put in jail, willing to go to jail to make her point to the liberal judge who's wearing his mask, even though he's 20, 30 yards away from everybody. They've scared him to death. And he thinks he's justified and he can throw somebody in jail and take their constitutional rights away for something that is looks like it's going to end up being less deadly than the flu. And we have a $20 solution to it. We've talked about that. $20 solution to it. Hydroxychloroquine, as well as a Z-Pack and some zinc. This thing goes away almost for everybody as long as you start at the right time and don't do what the false fake study did, which waited till they were almost dead to give it to him and didn't give him zinc and didn't give him a Z-Pack. And this has several links. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 links. It's talking about then and now, Brennan and Comey, assessment, clapper assist, hard push. So this is talking about how Brennan and Comey, I believe Brennan was kind of the puppet master of this whole thing, working with DNI, Comey and the Obama administration, as well as the CIA and the DNI working together to basically try to take down Trump. And here's an NBC News article all the way from 2016, I believe this is. FBI agrees with CIA assessment that Russia wanted to help Trump. The absolute lie that they purported, and again, this was December of 2016. After they lost the election, they had to blame it on the boogeyman. The boogeyman happens to be Russia. And they used all this stuff that they created with Sidney Blumenthal all the way back against McCain and other things. The cabal wanted to use a playbook they already had. So it really wasn't a Steele dossier. It was basically the made-up dossier from opposition research that Brennan and Comey orchestrated to try to take Trump down. That's what we're going to find, I believe. And here we go. Here's the Justice Archives. So you can go look up this stuff. This is thinking for yourself. This is the details around all this stuff. You can go see. And he's put in 927-18 USC 371, which is a conspiracy to defraud the United States. This is exactly what they did. They decided to use back channels of versus Five Eyes communication because they knew it went past the muster, and lie and lie and lie and use the MSM to lie more, and use every part of the weaponized government to take down the will of we the people. That's what we're going to be finding here. Justice Archives, here's some more. Knowingly and willfully. This is section 910. Obviously, if you knowingly and willfully, like Adam Schiff has as a gang of 8, knowing he knew all this stuff and he still is lying and trying to overthrow the government, that is treason, knowingly and willfully. This is 115, treason, sedition, and subversive activities. That's exactly what we're going to find here in all these different subsections here. We're gonna see a lot of people going down. You get to see it if you will pray in faith as a remnant. Remember, God listens to us. He listened to Abraham to not destroy Sodom and Gomorrah if they could find 5 righteous people. Think God's going to destroy America if we as a remnant ask for him to heal our land? 2 Chronicles 7:14. I recommend you memorize that. Just think about that. It's just talking about repenting, turning from our ways. So repent for the nation, repent for yourself, turn from your sin, commit that you'll help turn the United States around, and ask him to heal our land. Here you have a tweet, and it says, "Will you follow the narrative?" Q. So what's the narrative he's talking about? Well, it's masks are here to stay, according to the Washington Post. There you go. There's somebody to trust. The Washington Post. Amazon-owned Jeff Bezos' cabal-created media. Enemy of the people. What do they say? Masks are here to stay, and they're quickly becoming a way to express ourselves. You know what masks do? Especially if you start to get some of the virus. You can't get it out, it's coming right back in, and you're going to get sicker and sicker. All right? Mask is not the solution. It's immune health is a solution. Oxygenating your body is a solution. That's really clear. as we have backstage, are a bunch of documents about hydrogen peroxide cleanse. It's a free book that you can get a PDF of. You can also go buy it. I think it's pretty expensive right now, but it's called the 1 Minute Cure. Also the MMS cure, as well as this hydroxychloroquine that we've been talking about. So there's all kinds of ways to protect yourself and to heal this without. It's all about immune health. It has nothing to do with masks. Now, masks could be when you're in a clinical situation, when you're like doing a surgery or you're around other sick people. Though that's when you should be wearing masks. But they're trying to convince you otherwise. The narrative is you're going to always have to wear masks, and you should social distance. And they're even showing right now in New York, I saw a study that most of the people that ended up in the hospital were people that were staying home versus those people that were out working and outside, etc. Saying Facebook removes QAnon groups, pages, and accounts ahead of the 2020 election. So they say that it was this, what did they call it? Let me come back to it real quick. They said it was a inauthentic behavior report, but that's people that have the truth and want to tell people the truth about the cabal. They're targeting QAnon groups before the 2020 election. Here is another link, and it says, where we go one, we go all. Talking about this account is 100 Brexit. It says, many have asked, who Q is. We are all Q. This is the meaning of where we go one, we go all. All of us patriots who care about our country and don't want to see it destroyed. That is why we must stick together. Who is with me? Q Army, where we go one, we go all, QAnon worldwide. Pretty cool post there. And it's talking about when the protein sequence of SARS-CoV-2 receptor binding site was analyzed, an interesting result was found. While SARS-CoV-2 is overall more similar to bat coronaviruses, the receptor binding site was more similar to a SARS-CoV, which means it was manufactured in a lab. It was altered in a lab. That's exactly what that means. It wasn't a natural occurrence. It would take like 800 years, according to a report I just listened to, for that to happen naturally. When it happens within less than a decade, when you talk about these diseases. So this says, chloroquine is a potent inhibitor of SARS coronavirus infections and spread. Again, this is the 2005 report. Fauci had this. Fauci knows chloroquine works fine on it. And he suppresses it on purposes. Clinical studies that were incredibly successful, he calls antidotal. And his new $1,000 a pill drug, where he can get wealthy on, and the vaccine, that I can't say that word, because it seems like everything gets flagged right now. He and many of his family members, I think, as well as Gates, many others, are going to profit massively if the whole world has to take that supposed cure. So anyway, it's just incredible what we're learning here, isn't it? And this is talking about President of Tanzania, John Magufuli, has outsmarted somebody. He allowed coronavirus testing kits to be imported into his country. He instructed that they be checked by Tanzanian security officials. They tested non-human samples, including a goat and a pawa fruit. The tests were given human names and ages as they were sent off results. They tested positive. A fruit, a goat. President Magufuli said something is happening. This is how big this fraud is. People are understanding what's going on now. Here's a Reuters article. It says, sometimes you can't tell people the truth. You have to show them. Tanzania suspends laboratory head after president questions coronavirus tests. So basically, the people in charge of doing immune health and the shots you get for immune health, which is a smart idea. And most of these people that are labeled anti-vaxxers, right, are actually pro. But they want them not when criminals get them and try to damage you with fetal parts in it and actually putting metals in there. and all kinds of other dangerous things that are put in these supposed cures. And that there's a study that showed 36% of the people who got a flu shot, you had a 36% better chance of getting COVID. That's how this happens. That's one of the reasons why it spread so fast in Italy, because they had put a certain very aggressive plan of getting the flu shots in there that had this in it. Sometimes you can tell the public the truth. You must show them. Q. That's clearly what's happened here. Disney suspends laboratory head after president questions coronavirus test. That's 4115. You just listened to the Blessed to Teach show. You're now empowered with the truth.